reliable these numbers are. Thank you.
Thank you. First, regarding the 3 miles comparison with 3 miles island accident, we are not. We have not done the comparison with 3 miles island accident, but as I said, we think that Fukushima nuclear power plant accident is a serious one. The high level of radioactivity was observed at the gate of the nuclear power plant, and there is a possibility that the core is damaged, the nuclear vessel is damaged, and we had fire at the nuclear spent fuel pond. All of these indicates that this is a serious accident, and we are addressing this accident with that understanding, and that is the same with on the part of other countries. Regarding the credibility of the information, we also know that some information was declared to be mistaken later, and it was corrected. So we have circulated that certain specific information was wrong, was incorrect, and that is one of the evidence that corrected information is the right one. For on other areas, there is information that some information is not available. We do not know the reason, but some measurement equipment is not functioning. We don't know, but or some part of the equipment is wrong.
Okay. Perhaps I should start with an apology for being on time today. Anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to update you again on the current situation, and then we have two short presentations for you. One to give you an overview of the position on the site with some satellite imagery, and to present some data on changes over time with respect to pressure in the reactor vessel and the primary containment vessel, and also on water levels. We'll then give a short presentation on some of the radiation monitoring data we have both on site and in with respect to 4 cities. As I reported yesterday, the situation at Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plants remains very serious, but there has been no significant worsening since our last briefing. The situation at reactors units 1, 2 and 3 appears to remain fairly stable. Seawater was injected yesterday into units 2, and white smoke was again observed through the blown out panels. At Unit 3, which was the subject of helicopter water drops yesterday, water cannons have been spraying water on the spent fuel pond, and seawater was injected into the reactor pressure vessel. An important safety concern remains the spent fuel ponds at Units 3 and 4. Information is lacking on water levels and temperatures at the spent fuel ponds. Efforts are being made to restore electrical power to the whole site. Another positive development is that diesel generators are providing power for cooling for both Units 5 and 6. No problems have been reported at the common spent fuel pond. The common spent fuel pond is fully covered by water. The Japanese authorities today issued new ratings for the incidents on the IAEA International Nuclear and Radiological Event Scale, known as INIS. They assessed core damage at the Fukushima Daiichi 1, 2 and 3 reactor units that was caused by the loss of all cooling function as 5 on the INES scale. The situation at Unit 4, where cooling and water supply in the spent fuel pool had been lost, is rated as 3 by the Japanese authorities. At the Fukushima Daini nuclear power plant, the loss of cooling functions in Units 1, 2 and 4 have also been rated as 3. All reactor units at Fukushima Daini are now in a cold shutdown condition. Regarding radiation monitoring, as I mentioned yesterday, regular dose information is now being received from 47 Japanese cities. Dose rates in Tokyo and other cities remain far from levels which would require action. In other words, they are not dangerous to human health. First measurements in Tokyo by the agency's newly arrived radiation monitoring team today showed no indication of iodine-131 or cesium-137. These are fission products which come from the fuel. A second sampling will be carried out overnight. Regarding agency activities, as you know, the Director General is in Tokyo, where he met the Prime Minister and other senior government ministers, as well as the Vice President of TEPCO. The Director General stressed the importance of providing faster and more detailed information about the situation at the nuclear power plants, including to the international community. He also emphasised the importance of Japan working closely with the international community to resolve the crisis. There was agreement between the agency and our Japanese counterparts that the agency mission would focus on radiation measurements and the identification of Japanese needs for a future environmental monitoring program. The agency has started radiation measurements in Tokyo, as I mentioned, and we will move towards the Fukushima region as soon as possible. The Japanese counterparts confirmed their willingness to further strengthen their cooperation with the agency and make available measurements by TEPCO and the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. The Director General plans to brief the agency's Board of Governors on his return from Japan, and this briefing will be on Monday. Following our request yesterday, which I mentioned, to the CTBTO, they informed us today that data from its radionuclide monitoring stations will be made available to the agency with immediate effect. On behalf of the Director General, I express my thanks to CTBTO Executive Secretary Mr. Tibor Toth. The International Civil Aviation Organization, in consultation with the agency and a number of other international organisations, said today that international flight and maritime operations can continue normally into and out of Japan's major airports and seaports, and there is no medical basis for imposing additional measures to protect passengers. This, and indeed other measures, will of course be kept under regular check. Agency staff continues to work around the clock. We intend to hold another technical briefing to our member states and a press conference at the same time tomorrow, Saturday. Thank you. Perhaps now, if I could have the next slide. I showed you this graphic yesterday for the first time. In terms of the colouring, just to give you an overview, those shown in red we've considered to be a severe condition. Those in yellow, they're areas of concern, and those in green, there's no immediate concern. So this gives you, I hope, a summary and rapid overview of the situation on the 4 plants. There are a few changes from yesterday. You see, if you look at the AC power for Unit 2, that there is work, as I mentioned, ongoing to provide power, electric power to that facility, which will be used for cooling. Another change is the pressure of the reactor pressure vessel for Unit 3. You can see it's underlined. That's the change. This has now been stabilised. If I could have the next slide. We'll make these available to you. This shows the other 2 units at Fukushima Daiichi, units 5 and 6. As you can see, largely there is no immediate concerns. The only thing I would point out here is that the spent fuel pool temperature is slightly increasing in Unit 5, and actually a change from yesterday. The spent fuel pool temperature is stabilised in Unit 6. So compared to the other 4 units, there is no immediate concern. So with that, if I could hand over to my colleague, Jim Lyons. As I said, he will provide a technical update regarding the sites and show you some recent satellite imagery that we have, and particularly focus on some changes over time in some parameters which are important. That's the reactor and primary coolant vessel pressures and water levels. Over to you, Jim.
Thanks, Graham. Trying to just give you, again, some of the things that we're following on. These are not everything that we're following, but to give you some information, try to give you something new every day to see. Let's start off with our latest satellite images. Again, units 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can see the common spent fuel pond is back behind Unit 4. And probably what you see the most here is we're still seeing a little smoke or vapor plume coming out of the reactor building in Unit 2, and what could be possible vapor plume from Unit 4. And so that's kind of what we have there, but other than that, no real new changes. Units 5 and 6 remain pretty much the same. One of the things that TEPCO has been able to do is restore one of their emergency diesel generators for Unit 6, and it's supplying power to both Units 5 and 6, which is the way it's set up to be able to do. And because of that power, they're able to provide makeup water to their spent fuel pools, which is a good thing. And so my understanding, it's the makeup water that they have on site, which is the pure water that's in tanks there. So what I'm going to do is show you a series of graphs that have either reactor vessel level, reactor pressure, vessel pressure, or the primary containment pressures. And to give you a feeling for how things have progressed over the last several days, this doesn't go all the way back to the beginning of the event over the weekend, but it kind of gives you what we've got in the near right now. This is the reactor water level in the reactor pressure vessel in Daiichi Unit 1. And the scale on the left-hand side, which somehow came off of my slide, I'm not sure exactly how, as I transferred it to PowerPoint, is in millimeters. And these are negative numbers in the